If she had only been ugly, we would still.
Welcome to Dom Irrera's radio show. I refuse to use the word podcast because it seems like everybody has a podcast. Not everybody has a radio show. I'm sitting here with my friend Bob Zany. Bob, say hello to the people.
Hey,
nice
people. And I like radio show. I have a podcast, but I just call it cable.
I love when people go, podcast, everybody has one.
I know.
Yeah, but hopefully mine or yours are better than those other humps.
Right. And I like to think of the listeners as non-humps.
The non-humps.
The humps to say that you have a podcast.
That we comfort in their cars on their way to work.
Yes.
By chatting in comedic style.
Well, you're on XM Sirius, aren't you, Dom?
Yeah, I get some checks from them.
Right.
I don't know.
So the kids are laughing and you don't even know it.
God bless the kids.
You're changing lives.
And the soldiers and everybody who does
All the
things
soldiers.
for us.
Yes.
The medical profession.
The medical profession that keeps us healthy.
That's right. Bob, I haven't seen you since that gig we did out in Simi Valley
For the baseball league, raising money for them and all that.
Raising money for baseball. Yeah, very good.
That was fun, though, right?
It was a sad cause, baseball. It was fun, yeah.
We've done a lot of stuff together. We've done a lot of corporate shows, and I want to thank you. And I've said this before on your regular show, but you know, when I did Full Frontal Comedy, I actually found the little name tag you get for that.
Oh yeah.
Back in '96, and I was doing warm up all week, and they wouldn't put me on the show.
'96. I had just met Sophie. Wow.
Did you?
They wouldn't let you. I got you on the show.
You got me on the show. We were doing makeup together for whatever reason. He says, you know, you're funnier than most of the comics on the show.
Well, yeah.
And I said, I'm getting you on, and you did. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome.
It's a tough business. You know that, Dom.
Doesn't hurt to be nice to people, the people you believe in, does it? Is that so wrong?
No, it's not
in the
wrong.
grand scheme of things. We got cameras all over the place. You don't
Oh,
have
really?
to
I
turn.
don't have to look? How about over here?
No, there's
Nothing
nothing over
there.
here. But
Is that where Jamie is?
Jamie lives right inside there in that cubicle.
I would think so.
Comes out for food and water. We slip trays
Or when
in.
Dane Cook is here. That's the only time
Dane
he comes
Cook
out.
is a very big act. He does
I know.
stadiums.
Yes.
I always like when people exaggerate more. Like it's not big enough to do an arena. They're going, you know, he's doing stadiums now. Nobody's doing fucking stadiums.
Not even ball teams are doing stadiums.
The Rolling Stones, right? And maybe McCartney is doing Dodger Stadium. I love McCartney. I don't want to see him in a stadium.
No, it's not the same.
I'd
I want to see him here at the Laugh Factory.
That would be nice.
I know. Baby, you're amazed. I want to hear that live here at the Laugh Factory.
Maybe I'm amazed.
That too,
Not
but
baby, you're amazed.
I like the first cut.
Baby, you're amazed.
Right.
Baby, you're amazed by the way I'm with you all the time.
Right. It
I
was
can't
the
believe I
working
came
title,
home again,
Dom.
baby. Bob, you do the Bob and Tom show, right?
Yes, I've been doing it for over 16 years. I do the Zany Report, my take on the news. So
Well, that's cool.
got to keep it topical. Plus, I call in 11 other stations every week too. So it's besides them, it's a lot of work.
I love those guys. They're great guys. I don't work that part of the country that much. I was only on the show once, and I had a ball.
Yeah.
And one of them came to see me that night at Crackers, or
Yeah, Crackers.
I think it was Crackers in
Yeah.
Indianapolis.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing about them, and a lot of the comics who've been on the show, I did their Comedy Central special. I've done the tour where we play theaters, not stadiums, but big theaters.
Oh, that's nice.
And, you know, they're kind of like the Johnny Carson of radio because they've made so many comedian stars off radio like the old days used to. You know? Yeah.
Did Dan Whitney, Larry the Cable Guy, go through there?
I think he did in the early days. You know, I remember when I was calling into Johnny Dare in Kansas City. Larry was calling in. This is before he really hit big. Where
Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, he can play like big farms and stuff now.
Now he does pastures.
He plays pastures.
Good for him. I love that guy.
He actually was a really nice guy.
Great guy.
He found something. And that's where I think you and I both went wrong. I went with Bob Zany. You went with your real name. We didn't have the as our middle name. Cedric the Entertainer, Larry the Cable Guy. That's where we screwed up.
The does add a little excitement to it.
Look what happened to Smokey the Bear. I mean, my
Yeah.
God, these people are smart, and we didn't catch on to this.
Dom the comedian, Irrera.
Yeah.
Dom, funny
the dancer.
man.
How about Dom the dancer?
Dom
and
the
you got
Crazy
the DD,
Legs.
Yeah, and then you
Crazy-
did the comedy. You surprised-
Swivel hips, Irrera.
Yeah,
Dom,
there you go.
The swivel hips.
Scoliosis. How about Dom?
No, that's a
it's a
spinal
disease.
disorder.
Oh, it's spinal. Okay. I'm
You
sorry.
see, Bob, that you're always thinking, but it's not always correct.
Well, that's what's kept me alive.
Thank you for coming today dressed as a coroner.
Yeah,
Appreciate
actually,
that.
I'm here to pick up your act. So
Pick up
it
my
works.
act?
Yes,
My act
I'm going to
is-
bury it for you.
Oh, boy.
It's time to get rid of the family
I'd
and,
like
and
to
really
bury
talk
it.
about real stuff like your genitals.
Yeah, I'm still talking about my mom.
Is she with us?
Yes, but not in the physical form.
Mine either. My parents are both.
She's over there in that corner.
Oh, there she is. Hi.
Disapproving.
Hi, Mrs. Irrera.
Oh, there she's over there. And she's up there.
It's haunted.
She's flying around the room.
Oh, but I don't have a problem with that because my parents are still alive in the act. They're buried in Las Vegas, but they're alive.
Are they really buried?
Yeah, that's where they're buried. I grew up in West Covina, which is a suburb, as you know, of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And then all my family, my 2 brothers and sister, and my parents all moved to Vegas, and I'm the only one stayed in L.A. Though
May I say, on behalf of show business, we're glad you did, Bob.
I love L.A. It's my home. You're from back east, so.
Now, wait a minute. You're talking about names. Your real name's not Zany, right?
No, it isn't. My real name is Big Dick McGee.
Big Dick McGee?
Yeah.
Hey, thank you,
Hey,
my
thank
friend.
you very much. We're filming this, right, Greg? Oh, really? Yeah, why don't you just,
Greg,
go
the
ahead.
producer.
Greg, the producer, doing a great
genius.
job. And you know what? I'm going to chip in and help get you a sandwich, okay?
I appreciate that.
Everybody tells me what a great job you do, Greg.
Isn't that nice, Greg?
Yeah.
You hear? And that's behind the scenes. Yet we have to be on camera for you to praise him.
It's because they're afraid that you'll leave. They're afraid you'll leave.
Well,
Have nobody upstairs. But I appreciate your work.
He's in talk with Dustin Diamond. That's all I'm saying.
He's very bright. Where did you go to college?
I graduated 2 years ago, 2012.
Where?
University of Michigan.
University of Michigan. Oh, that must be fun. Did you go to the
The
football
Spartans,
games?
baby, right?
The Wolverines.
Same thing. It's just the team.
Spartans are
effort.
Michigan State.
I've been all over the hand, okay? The hand, right?
Yeah.
They're right about there, right? Is it Lansing?
Lansing is Michigan State. Ann
Oh.
Arbor is U.
Oh, Ann Arbor. I was just there at the comedy something.
You didn't know that Michigan was the Wolverines?
They're also the Spartans, right?
No,
It's a
Michigan
rivalry.
State's the Spartans.
That's what I meant. I
No,
picked the
you
wrong
didn't.
team.
You didn't.
He's not leaving you, okay? He's 2 years out of
Please-
college.
please
He's
don't-
got a job. He's happy.
Please don't leave me.
He's not leaving you. I've been all over Michigan. You've traveled. I've been all 50 states. Have you?
No.
You do a lot of festivals, though. That's the
I am
thing. I'm very
fastidious.
You're very fastidious.
I'm the festival guy. I was in, this year I was in Sydney's festival, Perth's, of course, Kilkenny, Austin, Texas.
Wow.
And coming up, Montreal, Canada.
Oh, just for laughs.
Montreal.
How many years have you been doing this for
I've
Montreal?
done it more than any other American.
Besides Andy Kindler, maybe? You and him?
Montreal, I think I've done it more than Andy.
Wow. That's something to say.
Yeah, but he does his own thing. He doesn't do the
Right. It's
usual
hilarious
regular.
what he does. But
He's
you're very
great.
funny, too. And now you're on New Faces still. That's the thing that bothers
Yeah, I'm
me.
on new old faces, new old craggy, wrinkled faces.
It happens.
I'm actually hosting the All-Star show, which means that's their way of getting like comedians with a lot of experience. Alonzo Bowden.
Alonzo, I love.
Yeah, we got some great guys. Adam Hills. I don't know if you know him.
I don't know Adam.
Adam's a big star in Australia.
Well, that's which explains it. But you
At least
met
that's what he told me.
him. Yeah. Well, who's going to go?
And
Did you fly there not to do the festival, just to prove that he was a big star? So you could
Yes,
say
I
his
went
name?
in search of Adam Hills. He's also a big star in London.
Oh, okay.
Good guy.
Yeah. But don't you have a following in like London? I mean, don't people love you?
I don't know so much about London, but I got a great following in Ireland.
Oh, Ireland, is it?
Yeah, it's very funny. I mean, it's so much fun.
Have you learned any Gaelic?
No, they call it Irish there.
Oh, they call it Irish?
They study Irish.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
They don't call it Gaelic, I think, because Gaelic is a much broader term, because Gaelic comes from Gaul, which is France,
Oh.
and that was a part of their language there, and that they also speak a form of Gaelic in Scotland, Wales, and Norway. You didn't ask for this lesson, Bob. You're here.
No, actually, I'm impressed that you know all that, because a lot of Americans are very lazy when they go to a foreign country. They want to learn things, Like I was in Israel, Toda. Anyway, I just said thank you in Hebrew.
Oh, I thought
I was in
they were
Denmark.
talking about Dorothy's dog.
Well, that too. Toda, actually, if you click
It's
your head.
Toto.
And then,
Didn't they sing Africa?
They sing Africa, and it's all the circle of life. I think The Lion King really
Yeah.
actually put it in perspective for me why I get up in the morning.
Well, nobody makes me think Broadway musical like you do. I mean, you're a song and dance man. You're a triple threat. You always were, and you always will be.
Yeah, I always break out in songs during the show because the comedy never goes the way I think.
Yeah, your stand-up is not your strength.
No, it's actually holding me back.
Yeah,
And
from
once I
your-
get the songs and the dance down,
Yeah, you have a beautiful
It's gonna-
physique. You know that.
yeah, for a dancer.
You really do.
Yeah.
Now, you lost a lot of weight, right?
Yeah, I was big. In fact, I have my book right here. after seeing Greg walk in, I don't think it really matters. Can you just wait there, right there, and tell him more about Gaelic?
Yeah.
Because I got my diet book to help me lose the weight. And
Oh, well, this is good. This is a commercial break. Make sure you stretch before you exercise.
I'm hooking up with the author of this book, and we're going to have pictures of me on it.
Nobody's ever left the stage before.
That's fine. It's actually, Dom, I think
Bobby
it's,
Lee humped around, though.
Bobby Lee.
Bobby Lee and David Spade were the only two guys that ever got up during the show.
But they actually got in
David
their
walked
cars
over
and
here.
left.
David
I could see Spade walking out.
No, he didn't walk out. He was great.
Okay. I love David. You know, I'm in Joe Dirt, by the way. I'm the one who pushes him into the janitorial cart in the beginning of the film. So that's my credit. And let me tell you, that's got street cred. The kids still love that movie.
The kids. God bless the kids.
Without the kids, I truly believe this, Dom, and I say this on stage, but without people, we wouldn't even be here.
Oh, that's really nice, Bob. It's beautiful insight into
Here's
humanity.
the book. It's called Help.
Help.
And every page.
When I was younger, so much
Eat
younger.
less and exercise more. Every page.
Does it really?
Every freaking page says that. Eat less and exercise more. So as you can see, it's an easy read.
That's great.
Yeah. And this is we're gonna have my picture on the cover, and we're coming out with.
Now, who wrote the foreword to that?
I'm going to. I'm gonna say it's a gimmick.
How did you do that?
Well, look, this is the thing. I ran into the guy in Florida, in Sarasota.
You know the guy?
Yeah, I know the guy.
Oh,
he's a radio show host. He had 100 of these sitting around. He says, I can't sell them. I said, well, you don't have. You're thin. You shouldn't be selling them. And I said, that's why I wear the ring, 175 pounds. I've been able to keep most of it off.
You're 175?
No, that's how much I lost in the early 90s. When you knew me when I was really big, didn't you?
Big fat Bob Zany.
Yeah. Is that what I was known as? Thank you.
Tablar.
I was big when I danced.
No, I never. No,
when I danced, the band skipped.
I never did.
I'm going to throw a joke in once in a while, and then we're going to get
just
serious.
to keep us going.
Yeah, we're going to keep going because Gaelic is important to me. So anyway, I lost the weight, and you know when you're that size, people think when you eat that you're messy and you get food all over yourself, and that's just not true because you don't get that size by missing.
You eater, right?
You don't get that size by missing.
I hear you.
I have a documentary where I actually played one of the village people on the Pat Sajak show.
Now, how much did you weigh?
I got the 350.
350.
I go by my
Maybe
pant size. I got the 54-inch waist.
Did you really?
Yeah, I'm about 36 to 38 right now. So
60.
54. 54. That's big. That's like 2 sizes of clothing.
Wow.
It's huge.
Oh, what are you, 6 foot?
I'm 5'11" in heels.
That's hot. That's a hot image. Man, thinking of you in heels.
Hey, whatever the ladies want.
You in heels with that outfit, but just short shorts.
I don't think
or
anyone.
hot pants, as we called them back in the day.
But you're out in the clubs now, and you see
Yes,
the
I
kids
am.
doing their comedy, and they all wear the baggy pants with their shirts untucked, and it seems like it's a uniform.
You know, it seems to have gone the way of the hula hoop,
Well, what else?
the crack and the ass thing.
Oh, that's gone away. But it has it with the kids that wear the pants to here.
Yeah, but I don't see as many of them. I think a lot of them have been taken away to.
I think what they did is they saved themselves up
Incarcerated.
for belts, and it finally worked out. They didn't have belts. That's all.
There was not an attitude thing. It was
No,
a
not
lack
at all.
of belt.
I think that was the big myth. That was something that the man wanted you to understand.
The man.
Oh, you know the
The
man's
man holding the
both
brother
down.
down.
Yeah, that's right. Why do you think you have to go to foreign countries to find work now? The man doesn't want you here.
Well, actually, you know, that's sad. I think it's.
It's something to think about, Dom, and I say it as a friend, okay?
I work at the Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, but that's...
Bananas in New York.
Okay.
Governors.
Okay.
Brokerage.
And the Laugh Factory.
Helium in Philadelphia. Denver Comedy Works.
Okay.
Where else?
So you feel you're somewhat American.
San Francisco Punchline. Improv at the Hard Rock in Florida.
Okay.
Side Splitters in Tampa and Knoxville.
For Bobby Jewell.
Bobby Jewell, Disco
right.
Bobby. We were talking about him yesterday.
Yeah, Disco Bobby. He actually did the warm-up for the Billy Gardell Road Dogg special.
He told me, yeah.
In Las Vegas.
How'd he do?
He did okay.
How did my act do in his act?
When he did some of your impressions of your family, I thought he was dead on. In
Wow.
fact, I think you need to start dropping those and really write something new.
Or watch him and get him down.
We've all worked with guys like that, though, right? I mean, you know, there was.
Bobby's a good comedian.
No, is he? You think so?
Well, he's a good group of comedians put together into one. No,
I love a refreshing Diet Zero Coke.
Well, we don't advertise that.
I know,
we
and I know you don't. That's why
we
you
advertise regular Coke.
you have the generic cup, You have a kitten on it, so I think you're pushing
Is
cat
that really?
adoptions.
A kitten near
There's
my
a
pussy?
cat there. He's playing with something. Oh,
playing
there's
with my-
also a cock, a rooster.
Cock. Suck that cock. Otto
So you
and
have
George
cock
died.
and pussy on your cup.
You know what? Did you know Otto and George?
Otto, I didn't know. I've seen their work, but I remember when Messina sent me a tape of them, like really the early days. He says, "You got to watch this," and I was just on the
Fucking
floor.
funny, yeah.
Oh, hilarious.
Otto and George were a X-rated comedy team, and I love the guy. Otto was the person, George was the dummy, and just so fucking funny.
And he just recently passed away. And
Yeah.
the sad thing, a lot of people don't know that it left George speechless.
That's it.
I'm sneaking jokes
No,
in.
no,
I'm old school. I'm
You're
sorry.
rapid fire, you know. You really.
I'm not. I don't know if I'm rapid fire, but I try. But you know, I was doing a show at the Long Beach Laugh Factory last night, and this guy had really
Did
great.
you really?
Yeah, yeah. What, do you want to know who books that?
No, I can't believe you got a spot.
Anyway,
Bob, I'm kidding. My God.
beyond supportive. No,
I
I know
am
it's
supportive.
true. I can only play Long Beach. They don't allow me in Hollywood right
Hey,
now.
You're
Only
here
there
to-
in San Manuel.
You're
And
here
that's
tonight,
it.
aren't you?
I'm here tonight. I'm just teasing. Is this live right now, or is this?
This is streaming to the world.
Are we streaming right now? Because
No.
How's your stream? Is it okay? Is it?
I have a nice flow.
You have a good flow.
Thank you for asking.
No
a little
problem. Do you have
salty.
progressive insurance too
When
with
I have-
that flow?
When
Go
I have
ahead.
asparagus, it's especially pungent.
Wow, that's something I didn't want to even think about. But where was that? So I'm saying you happy? You can work a crowd like the best of them. You know how to talk to people. I kind of do it a little bit. No, I do a lot of it. Okay, it's called boredom. But let me say this: this guy.
It's called like I don't feel like fucking right.
I don't
now,
want to
right?
do the act. Okay, I know the act.
The act.
It's the
Like it's
act in the
this vault.
basement.
Come
Anyway,
here, I'll show you the act.
Had all these tats right here, and I don't have any tattoos. Do you have any tattoos?
No.
No, I have a couple moles I should have checked, but that's it. So anyway, and I was thinking, how lazy?
It's another joke. you
It's
just
another
slipped
joke
in.
snuck in for your
It's
listening
different than the
pleasure.
other comics.
Hey, let me. Oh, really? Are they all just as bad?
No, none of them are as bad as you. Hey now.
Anyway, so I'm thinking, how lazy of a society have we become, Dom? Where it's not a tattoo anymore; they're tats. I mean, really?
They can't say two?
They can't say two anymore. And I'm thinking about this. What if there's a woman with a tat? I mean, hey, nice tits. I mean, tat on your tits.
I was thinking
That's
of-
tit for tat.
Wow.
I know. I'm working on wordplay now too. I'm writing for Gallagher.
Tat.
Anyway,
I was thinking of you know what I was thinking about? How like even like tough guys talk about emasculating, and I do it too. Say bye bye sometime.
oh, bye-bye. That's fine.
But I mean, it sounds a little sissiest, doesn't it?
No, not at
Bye
all.
bye.
Well, if you do it
Nice
like
man.
that, yeah. But you do it as Dom. Bye-bye.
As Otto and George said, I exaggerate to clarify.
That's funny.
Yeah.
He's not using that anymore, is he?
He's not using anything
we-
anymore. It's
I
passed
wonder
on.
if anyone's doing his act. You know, they're pulling out like a little George somewhere.
I used to love when the puppet would, you know, he did Suck That Cock was one of his hooks.
Yeah.
And he would go, the puppet would go, hey, waitress, you're a whore. And then the puppet's neck would get real long and the eyebrows would go, suck that cock. Suck that cock. Really funny.
Was he? Now you knew him, right?
Yeah, I love the guy.
Was he kind of strange off stage? I mean,
He's very,
before they showed
very
this?
shy. You
Shy.
know?
Interesting.
Yeah, everything came out with the puppet. You know, all the inhibitions were released. Everything. He was dirty. He was he was aggressive. In real life, he was very passive. Never said anything foul. You'd never know it was the same.
Well, I think because he had that outlet. You've worked with some of the older time comedians. I worked with Milton Berle and I worked with Jan Murray and Red Buttons and stuff.
Yeah,
and those guys were a little filthy off stage because they never had that outlet on stage. You know?
Yeah, they're very filthy off stage.
Yeah, but on
Except
stage.
Sid Caesar wasn't.
No, he wasn't. And very interesting too. I sat on the Rob Reiner roast in New York for Comedy Central. I was just on the dais, and I'm
You were on the
walking-
dais for the.
Drew Carey.
That's
roast.
right. We should talk about that.
Yeah, that's in my documentary because that was an interesting thing. But let me
Sure.
say real quick, Carl Reiner is walking through and Rob is saying to one of his friends, saying, yeah, my dad didn't want to be here because he thinks these things are too mean-spirited. So I find that interesting.
Carl
you know?
Reiner thought they were too mean-spirited?
Yes, roasts were mean-spirited.
They are pretty mean.
They are mean. They've gotten a lot worse. And
Well, I don't know how big Cloris Leachman's cunt can be or how big
right.
Pamela Anderson's twat is.
I think it's almost a shock value now. But
They
I did
drove a truck through it, and I don't think that it's really that big.
It's big enough. It's not a truck, probably a minivan from the Holiday Inn.
That I'll buy.
So I did the Drew Carey roast, but I didn't actually make the TV show. They filmed 4 hours, and the TV show was 42 minutes. So they had all the comics in the world. I'm sitting next to Jay Moore and Wanda Sykes, and I go up first. And actually, right next to me was Lucy Arnaz. And
who was I sitting next to?
I
know. That Asian woman who's very funny, very
Margaret
hip.
Cho?
Margaret Cho.
Yeah.
Yeah, Margaret and I were talking about this recently. But tell your story, because I want to tell mine.
I want to hear your story too, because this was like one of those moments. It's almost, I don't know which comedian it was that was on Ed Sullivan that he had to follow the Beatles. Like,
Yeah.
This is your big break, and then all of a sudden you have to follow the Beatles and no one cares. This was, the head of ABC was literally 2 chairs down from me, so this is my moment.
Right.
And I go up and I start roasting Drew, and as you know, on a roast that's being filmed, you play to Drew and you play to the camera. You don't look at anybody else. So I decided to do it that way, and again, this is 15 years ago, so I wouldn't do it that way now. And
How would you change it?
I would just be in the moment of the whole room. I was too worried about doing the little set because I had
you were a
X
little
amount of time.
nervous.
I was maybe a little nervous. So all of a sudden, 2 minutes, I get great laughs, and then I lose this side of the room.
I know, and I was there, and I know exactly.
Oh, you were there. Were you on the dais for that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you were. Okay, you were on the other side. You were on the side that.
I was one of the ones that actually made the TV thing.
Oh,
No offense.
none taken.
None meant.
Not meant. Okay, bye-bye. Anyway. No, so who was Joey Adams, the old-time
Joey
comedian.
Adams.
And he fell, and I'm not paying attention, so I lose the side of the room, and then, were you on that side of the dais? that
I
he
was
fell?
on the side where he fell.
Okay, yeah. So you saw it happen.
What happened was, well, you hear a big thump and a couple gasps. It was horrible. And his wife was there. His old guy's in his
Cindy
80s.
Adams, the columnist.
Excuse me. But what I saw was, from my perspective, was so sad for you. I mean, it's certainly sad for Joey. But Margaret and I are sitting there, and we're listening to you, and I knew that you were nervous, and you were doing really well. And then all of a sudden, and you were really, really hitting stride, and all of a sudden you lost half the room, and you're like fucking confused, which I don't blame you, because they were the ones that saw him fall.
Right.
The ones that were still laughing
They didn't see it.
They didn't see anything.
Right.
And I don't know when you found out that it wasn't you.
No, I didn't know.
And all of a sudden you start, like, you're not bombing, but you think you're bombing because nobody's fucking laughing.
You know what else was going through my mind? And you as a comedian, you know this. It's like, and I only went up second. I followed Mimi, Kathleen Kinney, who played Mimi on the show, and then it was me. And I thought, did she do a joke like this or something? Why did you get that response as someone
Of course,
close?
yeah.
And then all of a sudden I win the audience back, and then I go to sit down, and Jay Moore says, "Do you see that guy over there? He had a heart attack."
No, he didn't have a heart attack.
I know, but that's what they thought at the
He
time.
slipped. It was very stupid.
Yeah.
To have that stage the way it was with no protection for the older people,
The best part of it was there was some after party, and Pat Cooper, who was on the roast. In fact, he was very kind to me. He said the guy with the cigar over there is very funny, which was nice. But afterwards, he came up to me and says, and Pat Cooper was like 70 at the time, 73 or something. He says, yeah, they'd let these old guys come in. I just thought it was funny because I'm 35.
Like he's not old, yeah.
Yeah, but it's all perspective too. But you were right. It's like it was that moment. I could have had something, and boom, you just move on.
Well, we were very happy, that you were doing well. It was like wasn't any comedian backstabbing. It was just the opposite. And then I thought, fuck, Bob is having this moment in the sun, and there's a thunderstorm that he doesn't know about next door.
Yeah. Well, my documentary is called Close But No Cigar, which highlights my career for the plus 30 years I've been in it. And
yeah, but think about that, 30 years.
30. I started when I was 15.
You know how many
Gong Show.
cocky alternative comedians they're out there thinking that you're old school and all, but they'll never fucking make it.
Yeah.
They don't have a fucking prayer. I mean, it's just it's a numbers game. And
Yeah, it is a numbers game, but I'm a firm believer it's over when you say it's over. It's not over when someone. I'm working on an autobiography.
no, but you can't just say it's over. You still have to get jobs for it not to be over.
Right.
I mean, and you get jobs. You still work.
I still work. I'm here on the Dom Irrera podcast at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. Jamie has not come out once, so I'm doing fine.
Podcast is doing well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good. A lot of listeners, a lot of.
And my radio show, I mean.
Oh, the radio show's doing great.
It's a television show, actually. What
It
am
is
I talking
both.
about? It's television, it's radio.
Are you still hosting the show on Wednesday nights here? Because that
When
was
I'm-
streamed live, too,
When I'm in town.
when you're in town. Okay,
Yeah, it's
I
called
understand.
Bustin' Balls with Dom Irrera. I'm in Montreal this summer, and I'm at the Tropicana in the big room.
In the big room,
Well, you know, it's a big difference.
the Laugh Factory at the Tropicana?
No, it's called the Tropicana, and it's in Atlantic City.
Oh, in Atlantic City. Okay, good.
I will be in the Tropicana here, or in Vegas. I say here, it's 280 miles, in September, and then with Brad Garrett's Comedy Club in October.
I'll be at Brad Garrett since middle of August.
Oh,
and
great.
First
And
time.
the great thing about Vegas, finish your thought, sorry, Bob.
No, go ahead.
One of the great things about Vegas is you can go there once a month because the audience changes.
You can go there once a week. It changes. They
Yeah.
come in Sunday, they leave Thursday, and then you get the Thursday till Sunday crowd.
Yeah, it's great. I
It's
mean,
like-
you can't do that with Columbus, Ohio.
No, it's so ridiculous too because there's three main clubs there, as you know. You play them, I play them, and then
I just played the two.
You just played it too. Well, you've been in the MGM? I did a corporate show for Brad there about a year
Brad's
ago.
got a great
It's
club.
beautiful room. But
Fucking
it's like-
waitresses are hot.
Yeah, and it's like you're living in a little city. You don't have to go anywhere.
Not
And you
with,
have
not
all
with
these
all
people.
those five-star restaurants right
Yeah.
downstairs.
I mean,
So
Christian
Mr. Dom Irrera
Dior. How many
likes-
Christian Diors do you really need in one town? But they have them all
three.
over the place.
Three, I think.
Three
You
is-
asking me?
No, I'm just.
Oh, is it
It's more
hypothetical?
rhetorical.
Rhetorical? Oh, thought you meant literally. You need
Can we just get someone with a dictionary?
someone
So,
with a big dick.
so tell me your roast story. I want to hear that because that's interesting. You said you had a roast
no,
story.
no,
too?
well, I did tell. I mean, I
Oh,
was
that
talking
was a
about
part
your.
of it?
Yeah, part of it was you.
So you got to
because-
see it from this angle.
Yeah, and not only that, I did Margaret Cho's podcast a couple months ago, and was the first thing she brought up because we had never spoken. Not that where there was a problem was, we just didn't see each other.
Right.
But we had never talked about it, and we both had different perspectives of what happened. I don't remember hers, but she saw it a little differently than I did.
So she remembers the night that Bob Zany had this thing happen.
Well, you know, it's like you were a victim, an innocent victim of
Right.
a circumstance that was, you know, unparalleled in my history of roasting.
Right.
I never saw anybody fall off the stage.
Yeah. These things happen. I did last
It was a
com-
big fall, by the way.
It
wasn't
was
like
big.
a couple feet.
No,
it was
no,
like
it
a
was huge.
8-foot drop.
But see, if I was like doing my nightclub act, I would see everything going on and I would have acknowledged it.
But what I remember, what was so stupid about it for whoever planned it was a black floor. This is what I remember, whether it's true or not, I don't know. And it was a black backdrop. So you really had to be careful not to go near the edge because anybody could fall. I mean, I don't think just because he was
He
a
old.
really old man,
He was
I mean,
gonna
a
have
kid could have fallen off that.
People sometimes don't think that through, you know. They just say, oh, it
Yeah.
looks good. Well, it
Yeah.
looks good, but is it safe?
Yeah, I've done a lot of roasting at Sheridan. I did Bruce Willis's.
I think it was the Hilton, wasn't it?
See, I thought it was
New York
Sheridan.
Hilton. Yeah, it
Are
was
you
the
sure?
Hilton.
Are
Yeah.
you serious?
I've seen the tape a lot because it's part of the documentary.
See, now in my head. Because
It could have been a Sheraton. Maybe they changed.
No, I did.
You know what I remember, though, Dom, which I did not do? I remember staying there, and I went down to the lobby, and I got a muffin. And the muffin was $6.50. And this is 15 years ago. And I wanted to open the show with that muffin and put it on the podium going, I paid $6.50 for this muffin. It's got to do something. It's got to change my life.
gotta do something.
A pot of gold, something. I've never spent that much for a fucking muffin, okay?
See, I would never let the audience know that I cared about price. I mean, you're more
I am
humble
white
than I am.
trash, okay? I'm from West Covina. My dad was a house painter. What do you want?
Was he really?
Yeah, I painted houses for 15 years.
I hate painting.
Oh, you do?
Well, you know, the first like 30 seconds is not bad. After that, I get very tired. Lifting
Why
my
do you think
arm.
I do this? I remember my brother and I.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Why do you do this? And who's encouraging you? We got to put an end to that.
Visa, American Express, a lot
Who
of
are
them are
these
encouraging me to pay
cocksuckers?
those bills. And I get to it when I can.
We had you have a lot of bills. You're married, right?
I'm married right now, yes.
Is it okay or is it
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, she's my best friend, and I'm back home. I left for a
best
while.
friend? You know what that means? They ain't
Well,
fucking.
I left home. I really don't want to talk about this streaming.
It's not streaming.
No, but you know, she's very funny. She's a comedian herself.
Oh,
very
no.
funny. But she was when I met her, you know?
Oh,
very
God.
funny. She's funny. Stop it. And she's Irish. Erin O'Connor. So you could take her with you to Ireland and you'd fit in.
They don't need her. They have Irish.
You know how many
women
Aaron
over there.
O'Connors there are? It's amazing. Bob Zany's? Nothing.
And now, what's your real name? You don't want to tell
Oh,
me?
my real name is Robert Tetrault Jr.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Robert Tetrault. It's French.
Oh, my real name is not Dom Irrera. It is Slappy Kincaid.
I like Slappy.
Is this thing on?
Is it really Dom Irrera, though? Dominic?
Yeah. Actually, Leno called me up when I first did the Tonight Show because Johnny Carson introduced me as Dominic Irrera.
Oh, wow.
Hey, you got to change the Dominic to Dom. It's catchier.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah.
that was his idea. Yeah, I liked that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love Jay. You know what? He's like one of those guys that he works his ass off, you know?
He's probably working more now that he's not doing the Tonight Show.
Yeah, but he was still working a lot then. I got to see him when I did that Billy Gardell Road Time special, Road Dog special. Went backstage and watched him with Carrot Top, who's a friend of mine.
Yeah,
You know, Scott.
of course.
And we were watching him from the wings, and that was just amazing, you know? And then we went backstage to the green room and we hung out, and then he got on the jet and left. So that's just how it is.
I wonder what Leno's gonna. I mean, I know what he does because he loves stand-up, but I wonder if he'll come back. I think he's gonna resurface in a CNN half hour or something.
You think so?
Yeah, I can't imagine him just not doing any TV.
I can't either. I really can't. I mean, the guy's a workaholic, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And he's still in his prime. I mean, he can still pull it off. You know,
Oh, fuck yeah.
This business is just so horrible, you know, about, you know, ageism. You see the breakdowns, what they're looking for. You know, 20 to 24-year-old.
Well, that's what I'm looking for.
Is this thing on?
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Callback City. Welcome to Callback City.
I love
stranger.
callbacks, don't you, though? Because I do a joke later on in my act when I do the Big Dick McGee. You know, Rodney loved that joke, by the way.
Rodney Love what you.
Rodney Dangerfield loved because I did his HBO special, and you did one of his HBO specials too. I think I did his last one, and he said, "Big Dick McGee, man, it's the money piece, okay? Okay, all right."
You're all right, kid.
You're all
all right.
You know, and I worked with him for 2 years. I booked his room in Vegas and the one in Century City, plus I helped cast the HBO special. People think I got the special because of my relationship with Rodney, and it wasn't true. I was in the special, I was out of the special. I was in the special, I was out of the special. Then I was back in finally. So it's like one of those things. And again, it goes back and
Who
forth.
else was in yours?
Sid Youngers, a writer, producer now, did, you know, Roseanne, a bunch of stuff. Dave Tyree, you know Dave, right?
Yeah.
And Harry Basil, your friend Harry,
Right.
my friend Harry, and you Fink.
Oh, yours was a completely different level than mine.
And what kind of level is that?
No, it's just different.
Bye-bye. No, you'll love this story, okay?
We had Bill Hicks in mine.
Okay, fine, okay? It was towards the
Bill
end.
Hicks.
It was towards the end. Rodney picked all of them. I used to have an office at Whitsett and Ventura Boulevard. Did you ever see that, the big sign, the Bob Zany
Robert
sign?
Schimmel was in
Okay,
mine.
listen. Okay, they're all dead. Okay, you survived. That's the good thing. Did you notice you just named 2 dead comics?
That live in my heart.
They all live in my heart too, okay? I started out with both of them. I know the kids. Okay, here's the story. So Rodney comes up to my office to watch tapes of comics. So I set up this little VCR TV. He sits at the desk of my partner, Michelle, at the time. And he's like, and you know how Rodney was. He was tired sometimes. He had partied maybe a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. So he's watching tapes and he's like this. And
Was
all
he
of a sudden,
really?
yeah. and then comedian Jeff Wayne comes on. And do you know Jeff?
Yeah.
So he goes,
The Republican comedian?
yeah,
like
yeah.
Conservative. Yeah.
Conservative, yeah. Hey, man, this guy's better than his material. And then all of a sudden he says, you Fink came on. He goes, hey, this guy's a genius. But this is my favorite one. So more comics, and all of a sudden Jack Cohen comes on. And I just worked with Jack in Las Vegas. And I told
Oh,
him
he's
this
doing
story.
stand-up again?
He's doing stand-up again. He's great.
Did he get fired from the Tonight Show?
No,
or-
no, he did. He was there to the end. He did 17 years with him.
Oh, okay.
Amazing run.
But
was
he
the
didn't
head-
get held over by Fallon and that group?
No, because it's in New York. It's a whole
Oh,
different
right,
crew.
right.
So anyway, Rodney's like dozing off, and all his ladies and gentlemen, Jack Cohen, he goes, hey, that's my real name. And I've told Jack that story, and he loves it. And I remind him of the story. He says, oh, that's right, you told me that. Yeah, I was there. I lived it.
Well,
But,
he's Bob.
And
No need to get snapped.
I'm just saying, I got memories
Oh, let
too.
it go. I'm not saying you don't.
But you loved Rodney, right? I mean, he
I
was
love Rodney, yeah.
Yeah, he was a great guy. He really was. And
Yeah, he is.
I learned so much from him, and I always like to think of him as my mentor, though he really didn't apply for the job, you know. But how could you not learn from this guy? You talk about the alternative comics starting out. This is the guy who lived the life.
He worked so hard.
He works very hard.
He wrote material every day.
He showed me a bunch of Ed Sullivans that he did in the early days when he was
Can you
starting
imagine
out.
how much fucking material he must have had?
Oh, shitloads.
Yeah.
And I was watching it, and he was doing No Respect half-heartedly. Man, I get no respect, you know.
So he didn't really hit it
He
then.
didn't know that he had something.
This
you know what I
gem,
mean?
yeah.
I used to, you know, I do
Greatest-
bay. I didn't do it like
Yeah.
that in the beginning. It was
Yeah.
like all of a sudden you exaggerate a little bit.
Yeah, my hook was too long. That's what happened to me.
Well, how long was your hook?
It was my hook was, I can't believe that actually happened again today. All right. The t-shirt wouldn't fit on the t-shirts.
It could go around the whole shirt. Maybe that's the
horrible.
gimmick.
Yeah.
You didn't have a guy like me who thinks.
You
I
think?
think this stuff out, tit for tat. Okay. Hey man, it's all right. Okay.
All right, baby. Yeah, Harry, Basil, and him were close.
Oh yeah, Harry's got the best stories. And Harry and I just worked together in Jackpot, Nevada, and we drove up from Salt Lake City.
Jackpot, Nevada.
Yeah, I don't like to brag.
Where is that?
It's on the edge of Idaho. It's 3 casinos, general store, and a post office. And this is a true story. I'm actually walking.
How do you
through-
get there?
You can fly into Twin Falls, Idaho, and they'll pick you up in a van, or you can rent a car in Salt Lake and drive 3 hours, and that's what Harry and I did.
Oh God.
So we had Rodney stories the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
And his favorite, the one he told me was like, Rodney would say, "Man, it's all cock." And he still couldn't figure out what it meant.
What does that mean?
I know, that's the point. But Rodney would say it with such vigor, "Man, it's all cock."
It's all
Okay.
cock.
But Rodney,
But he had like a touch of the beatnik era in him because he was older.
well, he was friends with Joe Ansons, who was one of those guys.
I knew Joe.
Yeah, I met Joe a couple times, and he was like, "Hey, hippy dippy dippy," you know.
Joe, Rodney said to me one time, he had seen me, hadn't seen him for go, Joe and I were talking, baby. You're getting it together. You're really getting it. You know what you're doing now.
Yeah.
It's just like an ultimate compliment.
Oh,
from
it
him.
is, because he knew when you weren't ready or when you're ready and all that. I know that, like I said, I was in and out of the special, and I know that he wasn't still sure because I was working for him, basically. But I was
Right.
always going out every night doing sets in town. I'd play the improv,
Yeah.
the Laugh Factory. They had 2 improvs. I'd play Catch a Rising Star when it was in Universal. Comedy Store. I'd get on everywhere I could to, learn my
Yeah, I
craft.
do remember the thing about full frontal comedy and
Yeah.
getting you on because I'm thinking the warm-up guys are getting more laughs than a lot of the acts in the show. What the fuck?
I did warm up for a few people. I did it for Roseanne, and I did Buster's Happy Hour. Did you ever do that show?
Yeah.
And I was the warm up
Was,
all week. Dave
Dexter-
Rath was involved in that.
Dexter Poindexter or whatever.
Yeah, remember he was a big deal for a little while.
There was a girl named Susie Tyrell.
Was she the producer? Or
No, she
the
was
comic?
she had one of those bodies,
Oh yeah.
like a woman's body.
Oh, I think it's so important a woman to have a woman's body.
No, but I mean like a woman, not like a chick, like a fucking woman.
Okay.
Big ass, big tits, nice, that fucking cute Irish face.
Did you ever ask her out?
No, I was too short.
Really?
I thought so.
No, was she taller than you?
Well, in heels.
Well, that's why I wear heels.
I know,
Anyway.
but your calf muscles, may I say, not to embarrass you,
They're very strong.
like
I have good
cannonballs.
calves.
They're
I have good
cannonballs. You have
calves.
you have good thighs.
But when I was doing warm up for Buster's Happy Hour, the first night, the producer came up to me and said, "You are so funny." And she shook my hand and gave me $100 bill. She says, "I'm getting
Really?
Yeah.
What,
She
you
said,
fucking Italian?
I know. And I said, "Thank you."
Yeah,
She
you
says,
get yourself
"I'm getting
a
you on the
little-
show too," because they wouldn't put me on the show. I don't know. I went through like 3 years, Dom, where for whatever reason, no one would put me on their show, but they would hire me to do warm up or something. And I was going, okay, fine. For whatever reason, this is happening. And then the next year after your show, I was nominated for Club Comic of the Year with you on the Comedy Awards.
That's right. Who else was on that group?
That one, we lost to Craig Shoemaker, and we lost to Jeff Dunham. And my favorite Jeff Dunham story is this. So Maria
You know what's
Schlatter.
interesting? 2 guys that I don't like
Oh,
for
interesting.
different reasons.
I don't mind Jeff. So
No,
anyway,
Jeff, well, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but it was funny. Maria Schlatter came up to me at the awards when he won, and he brought out one of his puppets, I think Walter or Peanut. And she says, "Can you believe he brought out a puppet?" And I said, "Can you believe a ventriloquist was nominated in the stand-up comedy category?"
Right.
Because we couldn't be nominated in the ventriloquist category.
No.
But, all's fair. I'm glad he brought out the puppet. He should have. And then the last year I was there, we both lost to John Panette and who was the other guy? Remember they had co-winners.
Schimmel?
It was a Schimmel, yeah, probably.
Both of them are dead.
So we know that That's right.
We're bad luck for comedians.
Well, we're the survivors.
Once
Dom.
we're around.
Dummy, come on, we're the survivors.
Tommy, baby.
Hey, then you got to drop the Dominic, okay? You drop the Dominic, you go with Dom, it just rings, okay? And you had to listen to him because he's a fellow Italiano.
Leno's not Italian.
He's not?
He might be in ethnicity, but he doesn't have he's American. I mean, he's
Americanized?
Mitigan. Yeah, he's Scottish and Italian, but he doesn't feel Italian.
He's got the vowel at the end. I mean, isn't that all you
Yeah, but
need?
it's different. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, if you asked him, I don't think he thinks of himself as real Italian.
Do you think of yourself as a real Italian? You're Americanized.
Yeah, but I'm more Italian than Jay is.
Okay.
I'm more.
You think he ran away from his Italian roots?
No, I don't necessarily say that. I mean, he's from Boston. He's more of a Boston guy.
Oh, okay. You grew up in New York,
Philly.
right?
Philly.
Or Philly?
Yeah.
And did you grow up in an Italian neighborhood?
No, it was black and Jewish.
Black and Jewish?
And the
and you ran the numbers, right?
my cousin did. My
Oh, he
cousin
did?
Minnie.
Yeah.
She ran all the numbers, and whatever you dreamed, that's what you played.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Did you ever win in the numbers?
No, my mom did a lot. My mom
she
played
did?
every day.
See, but
The illegal numbers.
right, and the funny
don't
thing
even know
about
if they had
numbers
that
are,
anymore.
it's lotto. The state took that over too. The government took over numbers running. Do they still do the numbers
Why do I
though?
have crumbs on me and I didn't eat anything?
Because I think your producer Greg actually, when he handed you that, he had crumbs already because he wanted you to look bad on camera. He's not your
Skinny little
friend.
son of a
He's
bitch.
not your friend, okay? And I'm saying that with love in my heart.
I don't know if any of them fell into my coffee.
It could be the cat. Maybe it's cat litter.
Could be cocaine.
I was just cleaning the cat room today.
You do
okay?
drugs?
No.
Ever?
Well, I did in the early days, and I've only smoked pot like 3 or 4 times, and usually I was drunk, so it didn't really have
What
an
about
effect.
drinking? You drink still?
I stopped drinking. It's about over 5 weeks now. I've taken a little break,
5 weeks. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop today. I'll drink today, but after
and then
today.
tomorrow you'll stop.
Yeah.
It's always good to do that, to say A, if you can do it, and B, it's like I was talking to a therapist. He says, "Well, are you done drinking?" I said, "I'm not sure." He says, "Well, you have to say you're done, or you're not." You know what? Life's too short. What am I going to be on a plane and it's about to go down? I'll have a drink. Or I'm in a mall and it's shooting up. I'll fucking grab a bottle. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I drink too much. That's why I'm so puffy.
Do you think it's that? But you don't drink. You're not drinking right now. I mean, I know that's vodka, but it looks like coffee. When you do that, it's comedic effect. I learned that in '74.
Craig Ferguson used to do something funny on his.
Like that?
Just a moment of silence. It was just people don't know what to do.
But you know what? Can I ask you something that's interesting? You just said that because real comedians.
First of all, go right to the asking. Don't ask me 2 questions. Now you're asking me if you can ask me something. Just go.
You're absolutely
feel
right.
comfortable here.
Let me ask you this.
Let me ask you something.
Let me ask you something. You're a pro. I watch you work. You're okay when it's silent because you're going to get them back. The comics that panic are the ones, I'm not getting a laugh here. What do I do? Well,
Yeah.
you milk that moment and tell them you're in control, right?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
You can't.
They know as soon as you go on stage, they're like dogs. The audience. But
You open with this?
no, but I mean,
You're like dogs.
no, like dog in the sense that the dogs know when you're afraid of them,
Uh-huh.
and dogs know when you're in charge. That's what I say to my audience. No,
No.
I'll wipe your nose in it. No.
Well, you know what? I'll get like bachelorette parties at the show. It was last night, the Laugh Factory in Long Beach. The whole front row is at, and they'll start yapping, and I'll go, focus,
Right.
because no one says that to them. They just get away with it. Well, someone told me this, and I don't know why it's taking me this long to figure it out. When we're up here, we're the leader of the group.
That's right.
So the leader needs to be in charge. The moment they don't think the leader's in charge, then they all start talking. So you're
Yeah.
looking at a watch, it's not there, Dom.
But watch.
You look down at your watch.
No, I was looking at. I don't have a watch.
You have crumbs everywhere, and I don't want to say this, it's on your crotch too.
I don't understand.
Is this like a fetish? Do you put a muffin on your
I don't
crotch?
understand. I have crumbs. I didn't eat anything with
You look
crumbs.
for a 20 to 24-year-old? Do you like younger women?
No, I like women older than me.
Well,
Of course, I like younger women.
real young though. I mean, where they don't even know why they're there.
No, I mean,
Does it
of
slip when they
age.
say "daddy"?
Daddy can be very sad, lonely, or exciting? Daddy's a very interesting word in the English language.
It really is, and I don't even think it's an English word. I think it's Cuban. Cuban.
Cuban?
That's how you pronounce Cuba.
Bob, do you work out of the country?
I have, like I said, I've done Denmark. I learned a little Danish. Jeg ikke taler dansk, which means I don't speak Danish.
It's good that you.
And I've been to Israel, as I mentioned. I've been to London.
Did you do Israel? Which gig did you do?
I did the Avi Lieberman gig. So
that was the one I was supposed to do, and then there was almost a war. And, there's always almost a war, but they had like troops lined up on the Gaza Strip.
Oh yeah, but it's always that way.
Tanks.
When we arrived, when I did it, that flotilla thing happened where they're trying to bring the boats in and they had to shoot people. And it was like, I didn't know. We were on an overnight flight and we get there and I was calling to Bob and Tom. And it was like, the story that America was getting was different than the one you were getting in Israel. And they didn't want to talk. They didn't even want to say I was in Israel. Now, how often do you get a phone call from Israel live on radio? So I had to just act like I was in,
Who didn't want to say you were in
Birmingham,
Israel?
Alabama. Bob and Tom. They were afraid because the story in America was different than the story we were getting in Israel about what was going on.
Yeah.
Have you done the military shows? Have you been to Iraq or Afghanistan?
No.
Yeah.
I've done USO shows.
Yeah.
I haven't done military shows. My brothers both in the Marines, and they didn't want me to do it.
Oh, really? Why
I
is
said,
that?
do it for the troops here. Don't, because they thought it was dangerous.
That's interesting, but you never heard of an entertainer really being killed over there. They're pretty good.
But I've never been killed, but I kill.
Really?
Yes, I
Really?
do.
Well, okay.
All right, Bob, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Someone's got to believe in you.
Be so judgmental.
I'm very judgmental. No, I'm not.
175 pounds, my ass.
Hey, you believe what you got to believe, okay? I still got the suit. I could put it on and it'll look
What
like
size waist do you have now?
I got 36 to 38 right now. Depends on the day. If I'm bloated.
You retain water?
I retain water.
You retain pizza?
I retain pizza. I retain Chinese food, Mexican food.
I don't
love
eat
a good
Chinese.
burrito. Huh?
I don't eat Chinese food anymore.
Why not?
Too many people eat it.
Well, that's true.
No, I just, I don't know.
Mathematically
I feel
speaking.
like because when I was poor, I had to eat Chinese food all the time. So now,
Really?
yeah.
And you're not poor anymore. You're a
No.
successful stand-up comedian
I'm
who
fair.
travels the world. I would love to see the stamps on your passport.
I have I lost one of them. I do have one with a lot of, New
Stamps.
Zealand.
Yeah,
New Zealand.
I think I had to turn that in to get my new one, which I don't know why now to this day.
I don't know why they make you turn it in. They
It doesn't, why get the stamps if you can't keep it? You pay
just
for
punch
it.
a hole in it. Yeah.
Yeah, son of a bitches.
Sons.
It's the men. It's the men holding us down. It's not the
men.
man anymore. There's
It's
a
the
bunch
men.
of them. It's a bunch
It's
of
a
them.
group.
It's a group now.
It's the white man.
It's everybody now.
It's guys that are whiter than us.
I don't know. You know what? My uncle Jim was Italian, and I loved Jim Vetti, and he was the best guy in the whole world, and I loved.
Oh, don't
his
try
man.
and suck up to me.
No, I'm just saying. I have my whole family. It's the most cross-cultured family. My sister, she's great. She married a Mexican, and then divorced him, then married a black guy, and divorced him, and now she's with an Italian. So how about that?
Wow.
Joe Fazio, okay?
Okay. How did you get the name Zany?
It was actually the true story of that, and it's so funny. I ran into someone from high school, and they said they're the ones that gave it to me, which is such bullshit. I was watching Saturday Night Live. Chevy Chase was doing a commercial for the album in '77. He was hawking it. He says, "Hey, I'm that zany, lovable character from Saturday Night Live." And I went, "Zany, that's great." So I went to school. My friend Dave Miller was sitting in front of me. I said, "I'm going to go by Bob Zany Tetrol from now on." And I was on the Gong Show as that. In fact, I was zany before there was a Zanies in Chicago. So how about that? I have proof.
Really?
Yeah, I have living proof. Chuck Barris going, "Bob Zany Tetrol." And then I was pulled off stage by a man dressed like a nun with a big net. That was welcome to show business, baby.
Wow. That's a good story.
Yeah, I have a lot of stories like that. It's all in the documentary. Go to closebutnocigarmovie.com, and you get an hour special from Galesburg, Illinois. Because that was a subplot. I never had an hour special. Have you had an hour special or a half hour?
I don't want an hour special.
You don't? Why is that?
It's too much time. I can't stand myself or stand-up comedy for an hour.
So when you do
I
these
think
festivals,
40 minutes is plenty.
how long do you do at the festivals usually?
Oh, usually 20, 25.
That's perfect, I think less is more.
I should say in Sydney, in the Comedy Store in Sydney, I would do like closer to an hour.
Okay.
But they have a special night, which is nice, once in a while. Like in Montreal, I did a one-man show, which was basically my act with a couch.
Really?
Well, yeah, I mean,
But your act is also like a one-man show because you talk about all this rich stuff in your family and stuff. So
yeah, I don't know. Bob, I don't know how to write. I don't know how. I don't know how. When I look back and see some stuff in my act, I don't know how I wrote it because I can't just sit down and write like a real writer.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say, Jack Cohn, and Jack was on the Tonight Show so long. He probably really knows how to write jokes. I don't.
Well, it's not only writing jokes. It's like when I do the Zany Report every week. I do 6 topical jokes, and I write 15 to 20, and then I pick 6 that I think are going to work. And then once I start doing it on other radio shows, and then it gets a little better each time too. So it's fine tuning that joke,
Yeah.
knowing you're going to be throwing it away most likely. Now, 1 or 2 a month ends up in the act because it's evergreen, not topical.
Yeah, they're the hardest ones to write.
What, topical?
No, topical is
Evergreen?
the easiest.
Oh, I
because-
love evergreen jokes. I
Yeah.
have jokes that I've been doing for 5, 10 years that work.
Yeah.
And I have
but
other
I'm-
new jokes, but I'm just saying you always have that in your repertoire because you've done it long enough. You can pull stuff out in the moment if it makes sense. You talk to someone in the audience and they drag something out of your psyche.
I can't. Writing those kind of jokes are the real challenge because, like, say for instance, the basketball just ended, and the Spurs played the Heat, and enough people know who LeBron James is to make a LeBron James reference joke.
Right.
But it's so much easier because he played basketball that day.
Right.
But when you go back into the history of your life, it's so much harder to write a joke that will not only was come from the past, but could still be funny in the future.
Right.
LeBron James joke will die,
But it's like Rodney was like that.
That makes
way.
sense.
Yeah, it did make sense. I know what you're saying. It's like, but you just change the name of the person to someone else who's more relevant.
Cheating.
That's not cheating.
I
You wrote
say
a
it's
great
cheating.
joke. I don't think
You're
so.
a liar and a
Phyllis
cheat.
Diller did it. Joan Rivers did it. They have file cards, and they would say, and you just change the name if it works, But you don't have to do that either. I love writing one-liners that work all the time,
Anybody you've seen lately that you really like that you hadn't known before?
I haven't seen him, but I've been listening to him on Pandora, which I think you're probably on Pandora. You get your own station. I have my own station. But John Mulaney out of New York, he's a younger guy. I think he writes for Saturday Night Live. But he makes me laugh so hard. And his is storytelling, and he does this one thing where him and his friend go into a cafe, and they go to the jukebox, and they put on Tom Jones, What's New, Pussycat? Over and over and over. And he says, the way he describes it, the crowd is turning, going, they can't believe this fucking song on. So the 7th time they put on It's So Unusual.
It's not unusual.
I see, you know your songs.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
So he says the whole place just starts, oh, thank God. Thank God. And then the next song is What's New, Pussycat? And it's just the way he says it, it just made me laugh so hard. And I wasn't even drinking.
I like this kid, Brett Morin.
I don't know who that is.
He's on Undateable and with Chris D'Elia. Chris D'Elia is also terrific.
Yeah, I've seen Chris. He's very funny.
So,
So, there's a lot of, it's funny, when you and I were starting out, our guys were like Rodney and Carson, and, you can go down the line. Jack Benny was still alive, probably. Well, he died 75. But, I mean,
I never saw him do stand-up.
But you saw him do his show. I mean,
Yeah.
He was doing stand-up in the beginning. He would have like a
Right,
monologue
he
in his
did a
own way.
monologue.
But, I mean,
He was great.
this is the thing I want to ask you because it's funny. You've probably been turned down for Comedy Central because of your age, right? They'll look for like people who are 20-something. But all the stars off Comedy Central are our age. You know what I mean? It's like the highest rated special they ever had were the Redneck guys and Jeff Dunham.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like when we were kids and we watched comedy, like who made you laugh?
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen. And he was what, 20, 30 years older than you? So I think it's ridiculous when you think that 20-somethings can't laugh at you. You get 20-somethings laughing at you. I get 20-somethings
Well, if it wasn't for
laughing at me.
20-something, I have no career.
Yeah.
Because it's not like,
And you wouldn't have a dating.
Right. It's not like I fill houses with 50-year-old Goombas as much as it.
Well, they're out there, though. They're the ones still buying CDs.
Yeah.
I do
Albums,
the demographics.
my album.
I actually had an album in '85 at the Ice House. It's called
Really?
Hi Home, I'm Honey. My dad was dyslexic. So he'd come home, hi home, I'm honey. What's dinner for? Not roast pot again. But
Did you do any jokes?
I did half of it was stand-up, and the other half, I was doing radio at the time with Fraser Smith. And then Shauna.
Fraser's been on this show.
Fraser is...
We get good feedback from him.
You do when he's on?
Yeah, because he's good. He's like you in the sense that there's no... there's no glitches in the flow.
Yeah.
Just the flow, a natural conversation.
Well, we're having a conversation about comedy, and then you go with the moment. You know, I've done 60 podcasts now. I'd love to have you on mine at some point. I think we tried when you were in Vegas, but it didn't work out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to work a way where I can have something.
Do you have to go to your house?
No, I do it at a studio. I won't mention it out of respect to
mention
Jamie
it.
up there. No, Levity does it for me.
Oh,
And I've had Stephen Wright
Jamie
on.
don't give a fuck.
Okay, I've had Stephen Wright on and Carrot Top, Fred Willard. I had Dave Keckner, who plays Champ Kine.
Yeah, I know Dave.
I always have people I have a connection with. That's the real.
Yeah.
And then we just talk comedy. We just go with the moment. I keep it kind of, like 30 to 40 minutes. I just had George Slaughter on, and he talked about laughing. That was a
I love
two-parter.
George.
George is a great guy, and he's like one of those guys that gave me all these shots through the years. And you know George just from the Comedy Awards, but you did the comedy, George Slaughter's Comedy Club, didn't you, in the old days?
No.
Yeah, it was on. It was like Evening at the Improv, but it was on every night, and I did that. And
Oh, a TV show?
Yeah,
no,
you did that.
I don't think so.
you don't think so?
No.
That's interesting. But he's like one of the guys that had Chris Beard on, who was one of the creators of the Gong Show, and went on to Sonny and Cher, and I've done so many TV shows for him, and I have respect for the guys that did it, and I want to hear from them.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it by committee back then. George Slaughter said Goldie Hawn walked into his office and he said, "You're on the show," because he knew he had a star, but he didn't know what he was going to do with her.
So fucking cute.
Yeah, and then Lily Tomlin, same thing, and he
So-
just went down the line. It's like you have to have everybody in the world in the room to agree to have you, because if you fail, they don't all lose their job at once, but they do. So it's easier, I think, in this business for people to say no because they keep their job. Once they say yes, they're risking their job.
Well, they have to validate themselves too. So, like sometimes with network notes, and network notes, if you don't know, are just the obvious what it says. The people will read a script even before they start rehearsing on stage, and then they'll give notes about it. And some of these fucking humps, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but
Why?
they have to give notes. I'm amazed that some people got jobs. How the fuck do some of the people that book some of these festivals? What the fuck do they know about comedy?
Well-
Lugats, as they say in Italian. I'm on pangulig lugats. Like gigazzo I own.
And what does that translate to?
Don't you worry about it, tough guy.
It doesn't translate to that, does it?
Fuck you, grab a dick and ram it up your ass.
Really?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But make sure you ram it. Don't just ease it in.
Both your parents Italian?
Yes, they are.
Oh, they are. They speak Italian in the home?
They
or?
do. They never lived together when I was a kid.
Oh, they didn't?
No.
Oh, well, we shouldn't bring that up.
I don't care. I think I'm a little over it.
But I'm just saying, maybe you were the cause.
My father's the only one that's alive.
Oh, he is? How old's your dad?
83,
Wow.
I think.
So what is he, like 15 when he had you?
Yeah.
That's when they were doing it
Yeah,
back
he's,
then. My oldest brother, my parents, I think, were 17.
He's a retired Marine.
Your dad?
And luckily though,
Was he in World War II?
no, he's not that old.
Was he in Korean War then?
Korean, yeah.
Yeah. So was my dad.
He was in Nam too.
Oh, wow.
Like about 2 or 3 times. I don't really know him that well, but luckily, the good thing about sometimes misfortunes in life is that I have 2 brothers and a sister from his other marriage who I love, and
Oh, really?
and then I have a bunch of nieces and nephews who are just great, So out of that, whatever sadness or whatever you want to call that evolution of life and relationships, I ended up with a lot of people in my life that make it cool.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's important. I didn't have kids myself because I believe that dysfunction should end with me.
I would
That's how
agree
look
with
at
that.
it. I agree with that completely.
You don't want to have a baby Zany either.
Oh, could you imagine? People always say, "Why don't you have kids?" I say 3 words: Frank Sinatra Jr. You imagine the pain he had to go through being junior? I mean,
Yeah.
God, his dad was Sinatra. Okay, you don't say anything else. He was Frank.
Yeah, I don't think there's good and bad.
No, I'm just saying what you have to live up to. I'm not
Oh,
saying
yeah.
I've worked with Frank Sinatra Jr. on the telephone.
Well, Julian
Share those
Lennon and any of those guys that have the.
Oh, right. That's the
famous-
point. That's what I'm getting at. It's like
Yeah.
they're at there's icons, and then they're it. There's only a handful of people like that in the world. I don't even know
Is there
where we have
anybody
them.
who was great I know who was great as a daughter? Liza Minnelli.
Yeah, she went on to bigger and better things, you know.
And she was actually really, really talented.
And there's always exceptions to the
I mean,
rule.
like,
There's
you
a
know,
few.
Bob Dylan's son had a big hit song that was pretty cool. You know, a lot of it's like child actors and children of stars. They have it rough.
Well, you know what? I think the name can open the door, but you're going to have to be the one to close that door and keep the job. You know.
Yeah, and there's also the, you know, like, because Frank Sinatra's son, he sang well.
No, he's great. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. I'm just saying what you have to live up to. I couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
I had to live up to Whitey the house painter. I win. Okay, that's what I'm getting at. I'm not being disparaging towards him. What I'm saying
No,
is,
no, I wasn't
it's like,
saying you were.
It's an analogy
Let's
thing.
scream at me, Bob.
I'm just saying. I don't want you to think I'm anti-Italian. Okay.
I don't want you to think I'm anti-Semitic.
I love the Jews.
I love the Semites.
I love them. I think we should keep Israel around forever.
They're the
Pisses
backbone
off-
of show business.
It pisses
the
off a lot
Jews.
of people. I like that.
Why can't a Jew get a break in this business? That's what I always say.
Isn't that so funny? That's so funny. But you know, I guess it goes back to what I want to ask you is like, comedy comes from pain, doesn't it? I mean, your childhood, your thing. It's like,
Yeah,
and
a lot
also
of it,
we're
yeah.
all misfits. I
Except
think.
airplane material.
Airplane material. It
That comes
from
from
the
you
plane.
can't. Yeah.
Hey, Delta stands for Don't Ever Leave the Airport. Okay, we got jokes.
Bada boom.
Boom. But yeah, I think you know a lot of comics. I know a lot of comics,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think we're crazy to want to stand here in a room full of strangers and try to get acceptance. You know, there's something a little screwy there.
I love it.
You do.
Yeah, and
I love it too, but I'm just saying if you want to break it down.
I've seen people, you know, it's fun being around. Like people always say, you know, oh, you're around a long time, and I've said to guys, yeah, I've been around a long time, and I've seen your act. You have nothing to worry about.
Oh,
You won't be around a long time.
yeah.
So don't worry. You know, if you're making any dig towards me being old,
Yeah.
fuck you. You know, but I see guys like the guys I amazingly involved are like Rogan and people like Marin and people who, you know, you saw. I mean, Joe was never bad. Mark was never bad, but he had drug problems. But then to see them like just flourishing now, it's very cool.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't know about you, but I was never like one of these guys who was like, fuck, how do you get that? My thing is, we're all on our own path. Like you said,
Right.
you've come in and out of like where you actually worked other jobs in the business. And that's your own career.
Right.
There's no like one path to anything.
There is no one path. And it's like, you know, everybody has to realize, I mean, you can learn from others, but it's almost like originality. It's like, I think a lot of the stuff we do, we'd be naive to think it hasn't been done, but you haven't been done, Dom. I haven't been done. I don't know your life experience, and you bring that to the stage. I bring my life experience to the stage, and that's the most original thing. It's like singers. How many times can they sing love? But some of the guys, they sing love, and some of the gals sing love, and you know something about them.
What do you mean, the word love?
The word love, how many times has that been in a song?
Oh, yeah.
You know, how many times can we say dick in a joke, you know?
We, matter of fact, me and my friend Gina Coconata,
Oh, Coconata. I love
Gina
Gina Coconata.
her mother's Linda Clifford, who's a disco singer.
Makes no sense.
Great singer. Her father's Nick Coconata.
Coconata.
And Gina and I always have this game of singing all the songs with some word in it, and love is the easiest one
Right.
because love is there's 1,000 loves.
Right. But it's kind of like the happy song right now. I like the happy song from Frozen, I think it is, or from, no, Despicable Me.
Oh.
But it's like, and some happy, you can't not be happy. The one, don't worry, be happy, that's a fucking bummer. Hey, I can't pay my rent. Don't worry, be happy. No, you still got to
Be
pay
in
your fucking
denial,
rent
you-
at some point.
be in denial, you
right.
fucking
yeah,
drug
that's
addict.
what it is.
You-
Whereas the happy song, just be happy, and I'll figure out a way to pay the rent. You know,
Yeah.
so it's. But how many times the songs use the word happy, like happy birthday? The person that wrote that still makes money.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
So you know,
Well,
it's
you know-
the same way with comedy. It's like and it's like now that we're both at a point where we've done this so long, we have this experience. And I watch the shows. You know, I remember the first time I came back here like a year ago. I hadn't played. Whenever I was on the road, the last thing I wanted to do was come to the clubs, right?
Yeah.
And so I 15-year absence. And I was watching these young guys on stage and going, these guys are great and they're fucking
Yeah, there's
killing.
a lot of really good guys.
They're killing. And I go, what am I going to do? I'm this old road hack, right? And I come up and fucking kill. And then all of a sudden the young guys are going, who's this guy? You know, it's like, so that was great. That was a good feeling that I could fit in. But I mean, we started out with the young guys. We were the young guys, you
course.
know? And we were all it's so funny though. It's like comics our age, the ones that complain about the young comics too. And I always go,
It's just jealousy.
it's jealousy. And it's like, we were complained about by the older guys when we were starting out. So, it's always going to be that way. These guys in 20 years are going to complain about the younger guys. Well, they didn't have to do this. And, it's always, so you can't, you have a great attitude. You just can't worry about what someone else got or they're doing because we have what we got,
Just go home and write something funnier.
You know what's interesting? Fred Wolf, Fred?
Yeah.
The writer, comedian.
Used to play basketball with him.
Yeah, I've known him since the beginning. We're old friends. Good guy. And I sent him my documentary, and there's a scene in it where I'm on the Jerry Lewis telethon. I did it for 17 years. I co-hosted and did a set. And one scene, I'm doing a joke, and Jerry Lewis is laughing, falling on the ground. And
Riboflavin.
So he calls me up, and here's Fred Wolf, who's very accomplished, works in David Spade movies and Adam Sandler and all this stuff. And he says, I'm so jealous. If I could have a piece of tape where I'm making Jerry Lewis laugh like that. And I'm just going, well, that's
cool.
my thing. Yeah, so that was really cool. He's done more things than I have, on a bigger scale. But I'm still
No, it's not.
plugging away.
I know. I've had experiences like that, and you can't. Very cool that you.
I made Jerry Lewis laugh. It's like I've made. I don't know if I ever made. Did you ever think you made Rodney laugh? Because he was always kind of.
Yeah, I made Rodney laugh a couple times, but
Yeah.
mostly he says that's very funny.
Right, that's how
very funny. It's
Man,
very-
that was good. Okay.
That's good. Yeah, you can,
My favorite Rodney story was I was showcasing for him at the Improv on Melrose, and I think the first time I showcased, I was still doing props at the time. So I did another showcase with him where it was just monology, and I killed. It was like 10, and the guy who ran the place, James, the manager, said, I've never seen someone do that well. So I'm like high as a kite, just going, wow, I did great. And Rodney was there, and I'm walking out, and I said, good night, Rodney, and I went out to my car, and it was stolen. Have you ever had your car stolen?
yeah.
So you walk out to where you parked, and you go, maybe I didn't park
I left
there.
the keys in the trunk.
Well, that was stupid.
I know.
With the guy that you had in the trunk?
You know what they did? They found out it was me,
Yeah.
the guys in the neighborhood.
Oh, they returned it?
Not only did they return it, but they charged me $35. It was for the parking.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm
That's
serious.
funny.
Yeah.
That's a great story. So I'm walking back in, and Rodney's leaving the Improv, and I go, hey, Rodney, guess what? My car was stolen, and the worst part, my props were in the trunk. And without missing a beat, Rodney said, man, you had to lose the props anyway. And that was Rodney in a nutshell.
That's great, yeah.
Because he was just
It's time to move on.
yeah, it's time to move on.
Did you ever get
man.
the car back?
I got the car back, and it was
Props
destroyed,
were-
and the props were in the trunk. They kept those. They took like a camera and all this. It was
They
so
didn't even want that fucking act.
they, that was it. And I remember, but they were going through them like, no, they didn't want any of it.
Bob Zany, thank you for being on.
Thank you, man. It's a
Camaraderie
real
Live,
pleasure.
The Laugh Factory. What's
Real
your
pleasure.
Twitter?
At Bob Zany on Twitter. Really
I'm at
good about that.
Irrera.
And I have a Facebook fan page, and it's Bob Zany fan page. And then I also have a YouTube channel /Bob Zany videos. I do a thing called Baggage Claim, the talk show. And I run in the comedians at Baggage Claim, and I've got Norm Macdonald and David Allen Greer for the first three.
I don't
that's
check
kinda cool.
bags.
Huh? You don't check bags?
Never.
Well, then I'm never going to have you on the show.
Oh, sorry.
And bobzany.com, you can find out everything I'm doing just by clicking on over everything. So,
Thank you, Bob Zany. See you next time,
bay.
mofo.